guys, and thanks so much for tuning into my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about acid reflux. So if you're someone that suffers with acid reflux or GERD, and you've tried the conventional medicine route, where they've placed you on PPIs, which are proton pump inhibitors, or any medication to reduce the symptoms but not cure the underlying, then in this video I'm going to try and share with you some of my experiences with acid reflux and how I've gone about trying to heal this condition naturally, and to really get to the root cause of the problem and rather start to address that than to just mask the symptoms. So stay tuned for this video if you're someone who's looking to gain relief or long-term relief from acid reflux symptoms. Alright, so let's get into it. Acid reflux, definitely not a pleasant experience. I've suffered with this condition for a number of years, and I'm going to share with you today some of my experiences and how I've gone about addressing acid reflux naturally. Now, I've been on PPIs for over 10 years, and it never really addressed the underlying cause of the acid reflux. It merely just masked the symptoms, permitted you to consume a normal Western diet, but never really addressed the underlying issue. And oftentimes, if you've been on PPIs for extended periods of time, what you notice is it doesn't allow the body to break down foods, because it stops the stomach from pumping out acid to break down food. So your body is unable to consume those vitamins, which makes you dependent on taking multivitamin supplements that are already broken down so your body can just consume them and to be able to lead a normal life. Now, over the long term, it definitely has negative implications, and that's what happened with me. Is over the long term, the body doesn't have sufficient vitamins, and you've got to constantly increase your supplementation just to be able to sustain normal levels of vitamins. But it also creates an environment where bad bacteria can proliferate, so it just worsens the situation progressively, and it's just a downward spiral. And once I got to that stage, I just realized that the conventional medicine approach wasn't really addressing the underlying, and it was just progressively making things worse, so much to the extent that your body's just incapable of consuming any sort of vitamins. So no matter how much supplements I took, I was always needing to go to higher and higher levels just to get normal absorption levels, which is just not sustainable in the long term, and it's just going to push you downwards. So let's get into how I've managed to address it using natural alternatives, because that's always the best approach, is just to go back to Mother Nature and look at how we can address this issue naturally. So the number one way is to adapt your diet, because there are certain foods that aggravate acid reflux and just make it so much worse. And some of the common culprits, I'm going to name the top three culprits that really cause acid reflux. And the first one is gluten. Gluten is probably the worst from my experience. Whenever I've consumed gluten, it just gave me those instant acid reflux symptoms. So you definitely want to stay away from breads and processed foods that have gluten. I found breads to be worse than foods that were just in powdered form, or cookies. Breads and those foods generally have yeast in it, which makes it worse from an acid reflux standpoint. But you can experiment and see how it goes, but I would definitely recommend you eliminate all gluten. I've also known from reading a number of reports on internet sites that gluten compromises the intestinal permeability, and that's what causes all these proteins to seep through the gut lining and then cause the autoimmune system to then attack these particles that are leaking into the bloodstream, and that gives a number of people who have acid reflux symptoms also having autoimmune conditions. So you definitely want to get to the underlying and try and heal the gut lining through adapting your diet, so you're no longer consuming foods that's progressively making your intestinal lining worse. So the second food, and this is dairy. Dairy foods are just no longer the same that they used to be way in the past, and that's because of the change in the way in which dairy products are now produced. It's just the rapid expansion of the dairy industry and the mechanization of milking cows and getting dairy. It's just no longer the same as it used to be, and all that changes the casein content of dairy products, which makes it really hard for the body to digest and really aggravates the acid reflux symptoms. So you definitely want to try and stay away from dairy, but experiment with it and see how it works for you. It might be that you're in a location where the dairy products aren't as bad as out here in North America, and you're able to consume them because the casein content is still intact with the way nature intended it to be. And the last one is, and probably one that's on the top of most people's list as I've got to have this food, and that is just sugar. Processed sugars are just really bad for a number of conditions, and sugar is more like a drug. I've read a report saying that they done an experiment with rats, and they gave them a sugar concoction as well as a cocaine concoction, and the rats always ended up going for the sugar, proving that it's more addictive than cocaine. So you definitely want to cut back on processed sugars, because that just increases the inflammation within the body, and it's going to make acid reflux symptoms worse. As you start to get healing, you can take in a little bit of sugar, but don't go too aggressive with it. For trying to get immediate alleviation from those acid reflux symptoms, you definitely want to try and eliminate those 3 common food items immediately to start to get relief from it, and then try and slowly see what your body is able to digest. So I'm going to share with you another 2 bonus items that I found that aggravated my acid reflux symptoms, and that is potatoes. White potatoes. Sweet potatoes are fine, I've had no issues with it, but white potatoes definitely caused an acid reflux reaction in my body. And the second one is white rice. Now, white rice has also been known to be contaminated with arsenic, and I'm not sure why exactly it's so difficult to digest, but I've just noticed from my own body it's caused an acid reflux symptom, and it hasn't been able to break down as well as other foods. So I just try to eliminate it as far as possible. If I do consume it, it's definitely not on a regular basis. So I hope these tips help you if you're suffering from acid reflux, and if you can share your experiences down in the comments below. Let me know what foods are helping you, what foods are not working for you, and just try and share the message to other people that are suffering with acid reflux. And if there's ways that you found are effective to help alleviate your acid reflux symptoms naturally. So thanks so much for tuning into this video. I really hope these tips and suggestions help you with acid reflux. And please subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time.